Greetings. The 2025 Zcbc plenary has come to a close. Many people still have questions. Many have contributions, views and comments. You recall from the responses from random attendees we picked. Some of them were asking questions like, how does one get invited for this plenary? Who chooses attendees? Why is it that we had less youth than the elderly and the like? We're going to have the Zcbc Secretary, Fr.Tryvis Moyo, who's the face of the Zimbabwe Catholic Bishops Conference in Zimbabwe, to respond to these and many other questions. For more of the proceedings that have been taking place at this plenary, kindly follow us on the Zcbc SOCCOM News Updates channel on YouTube as well as on Facebook. Remember, you have the opportunity as well to advertise with us, to share your views and comments, even to request what you want to see on our platforms. From myself, Father Metuli Lanel and Moyo, and Father Johnson Zibana Mulambo and Tricia Mlambo, who are the social communications crew at the Zimbabwe Catholic Bishops Conference Zcbc at the Africa Synod House in Harare. It has been a pleasure to be with you. Join us, support us, and be with us.
Good afternoon. I think as we come to the end of today's plenary, or this year's plenary, there are quite a number of things to take home and to think about. A plenary is a meeting of the bishops where, to their discretion, they invite people to come and be part of the meeting. And their key role is to listen so that they can have a feel of what is happening in the local church in Zimbabwe. As we come to the end of the meeting today, I think a lot has been achieved in terms of the topics that have been covered and in terms of the challenges that have been posed. And my hope is, as the plenary comes to an end, the participants will take whatever has been discussed here and have it as the fodder in their dioceses so that they can deliberate further on the issues that were discussed at the plenary meeting. This year's plenary is unique in that it seeks to celebrate two great events in the church. It celebrates the Jubilee year and it celebrates the beginning of the phase of implementation of the Synod on Synodality. And the bishops are thinking around these two topics. They said, how can we worthily celebrate the Jubilee? And to celebrate it well, they thought, okay, we need to understand together what a Jubilee is and what opportunities it provides for us. The second one, the Synod on Synodality. Now that the Synod has come to an end and we are coming to a close, we have come to a close of the Synod. What we need is to start implementing the Synod. And who can help the bishops implement the Synod? Is the priests in the parishes. But it will have been such a big number to call all the priests in the country to be part of this meeting. So deliberately they chose to invite the vicars general, the pastoral directors and the deans, diocesan deans, to be part of this meeting, because these are the structures that work closely with the bishops and that are closer to the people. It is hoped that each dean will leave this and go and give a feedback to his brother priests, and they sit and think together in terms of how then do we take what has been given to each and every member of the church in Zimbabwe. Our plenary this year is different in that we have reached beyond our borders and invited the members of the conferences of Malawi and Zambia. They are part of the sub-region to which Zimbabwe belongs, the sub-region of Mazazi, which simply means Malawi, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. And in this sub-region, we are discerning ways of collaborating in pastoral matters. And this collaboration can only begin when we begin to understand each other as conferences, when we begin to share the life in the conferences. And so we see that in this, our plenary meeting, with representatives of those conferences, with Bishop Mtumbuka from the Conference of Malawi, and he came accompanied by the Secretary General from Malawi. And with Bishop Mwempa, who came representing the Conference of Bishops in Zambia. It is hoped, and this will be our way going forward, that whenever there is something of a national celebration or something that is done at a national level in these three conferences, we will try and engage all the conferences that are members of the sub-region to come and participate. Before we came to the plenary, our president, Bishop Horan, was in Malawi for the installation of a bishop. And this is the collaboration that we are already seeing taking place. And this is the collaboration that we hope will continue. And in that way, this plenary was unique, in that it was open beyond our borders. And it is unique in the people who constitute it. And it is unique also in that it is one of our biggest plenary meetings. Every year we are seeing the plenary grow bigger and bigger. I hope it's not just big as in quantity, but I think it will be, the greater it is, the more enriching it is, and the more fruitful the discussions and deliberations will be. The reality is a plenary is a meeting of the bishops. Strictly speaking, it's the bishops who gather, and they may choose to open the plenary to whoever they choose. They can have this meeting without inviting any of us. But given that this plenary concerns the synod and the application of the synod, implementation of what was discussed at the synodal meetings, the bishops are then open enough to invite, and this time they chose to invite the deans, the pastoral directors, and the representatives of the diocesan pastoral councils. In this way, it is different. There might be some people who might have wanted to see more young people being represented at this plenary meeting. Unfortunately, the plenary this time was organized around the deans. These are the people who now have a responsibility of going back to their communities, to their parishes, and making sure that these discussions that were initiated here are taken further. And in so doing, I think more and more people will have the opportunity to participate in this meeting. This meeting is there to hazard, to highlight topics that we can look at as we seek to implement the synod and as we seek to celebrate the Jubilee. So it's as it were, they have a responsibility after attending this meeting with the bishops to say, now let us take the plenary home. When they're at home, it won't be a plenary meeting, but it will be a gathering of the people of God, their priests and their pastors, and even with their bishops, to then deliberate on how then in our space and time and context can we implement some of the things we spoke about. How then can we identify the wounds that were spoken about on the first day, of the wounds that have been inflicted on our people, the wounds that our people carry, and the wounds that we live with. So you can't name a wound from a national level and say these are the wounds we have. But individual persons, individual communities will experience those wounds and that suffering differently. And so it's the responsibility of all of us who have been here to go back to our communities, to open further the discussions and to think about the synodal way of doing things. We're talking about decision making and decision taking. That cannot be done at this level, but it has to be cascaded down to our small communities. And in this way, I think what the plenary does is to challenge all of us who have been here to say, how then do we take this which we have had to the communities that we represent? We are all here representing someone who is not here. And how then do we make those who are not here part of this discussion that has started?